Hey there, I'm Lee Rowley, and this is Lee After Dark. Why? Because there's more to being a business leader than just business. Each episode, one brave entrepreneur ejects the elevator pitch and just gets real with us. And today I am happy to welcome Neil Carroll. Neil, how are you, my friend?
I'm pretty good,
Oh,
Can't complain.
okay. Well, I will have to see what we can do about that.
All right.
We expect at least a modicum of complaining around here. All right. So if we don't have it naturally, we'll create it sometime during the episode. No, I'm kidding.
I'm happy to oblige.
Yeah. All right. So, well, from what you were telling me, pre-show, I'm sure there's plenty of fodder for that. But I have to go over the rules, which are just stupid simple. For the next 20 minutes, you can talk about anything in the world you want, except for your business. Should you succeed, and I believe you will, get 5 minutes at the end to pitch up a storm. All right. Them's the rules.
Excellent. I'm
Yeah.
checking the clock because
Well,
it's
yeah,
it's a hard thing to do, but I'm
so,
game.
Okay, well, usually we blow past it, and I allow that kind of crap too,
Okay.
because it's just how I am. And well, I've got a 20-minute timer here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and click this now to keep us honest. And as the question always is, what the heck do you want to get into for the next 20 minutes?
All right. Well, like we were kind of talking about just before we started recording, I ran downstairs here to this room that I won't talk about because that might be business related from doing some work on the house. And that was maybe one of the most interesting things that I did on a personal level. We did as a family this year was to sell our old house, buy a new house during COVID and all the complications that came with that. So I don't know if you just want me to riff on it or you want to go.
I'm interested in what prompted this. It's COVID because we made a move as well during this thing, and I'm just hearing it from other people. And I'm interested in your perspective. What happened that said, "All right, now's the time to do this."
Right. Well, with us, we've been looking for a few years in real estate market around here, and we're Buffalo, New York area is cooking, and we looked for a while and we found a place. So we actually were supposed to close on the first house that we found and had a deal in place on April 15th, I think, of last year. So it was a great house, great old house, needed a ton of work though, right? We were aiming to put in over $100,000 worth of renovations and so on. The way I always describe it to people is it was grandma's house, right? Like the old but like cool, lot of character. But the one drawback of it being grandma's house was the kitchen was not a kitchen. It would appear that the children of grandma did not want her cooking on a real stove. So there was no stove hookup, 2 microwaves, 2 cupboards. That was it. Right.
Ooh.
So that space obviously needed quite a bit of upgrading for a family of 4. And, that became the main sticking point. That deal fell through because April 15th in New York State, contractors couldn't even work at all, right? Like New York State got locked down. Mm-hmm. And so the buyer was trying to get us to close or commit to a close date, but the everything was so uncertain and we couldn't move into this house, right? And we couldn't afford to have 2 houses at the same time while we waited for contractors to be able to work again. And we didn't know if it would be 3 months, 6 months, and then you get on the list, right? Because everything's backed up. So that deal fell through. And I don't know, once you get the itch, I think, right? Once you've decided you're going somewhere, we started looking again through COVID. And a big piece of it was, we need a little more space for the kids. Previous place was a nice house, but tiny yard. And now we're in a cool, very walkable village south of the city of Buffalo, Hamburg, New York, and it's been a great move. But man, it was it was exciting. So I don't know. You said you moved during it too. What motivated you? I guess, Lee. Or am I not allowed to ask questions?
No, you're perfectly welcome to flip the script. In fact, I think who was it? I had somebody several episodes do that to me, just like pretty much right out of the gate. She was just like, nope, screw this. I'm flipping the script on you, and I'm asking the questions. I was like, okay. I said open format. I guess I got to roll with it. So, you've read some of my content, you know my backstory, right? So,
yep.
Carla and I were still in, when COVID hit, we were still in the house that our daughter Aria had grew up in. So, we raised her in that house, and then we'd been there for almost, I think, so 7 or 8 years since she passed away. And it was just, she was working at home full time. I was already working at home full time because I don't get along with anybody. And so, we're both home all the time looking around at this place, and these things and these reminders and these, just weight. That's all I can just describe it was just a weight.
Right.
And we both just kind of had that point of like, okay, let's just see if maybe we can sell this house and see what's next. We were originally planning on moving to Vegas, and COVID kind of derailed that a bit.
Yeah.
So, but as soon as we did that, we had an investor show up and say, hey, you know what? But I can work with this. Basically doing a lot of what you're doing. I'm sure, but that I don't have the capacity nor the the interest in doing. I'm not happy behind a saw or anything like that, and
sure,
it's not going to turn out right anyway. So there's just two strikes.
Yep.
I don't want to do it. My wife won't like it. Let's just hire somebody.
There you go.
If we go. So we did. So that was the reason for doing that. So that ended up being a pretty easy sell. And we moved into a small apartment for 6 months. We just like, let's do a 6-month lease. Then here we were in Columbus, and let's do that. What we found out is being enclosed in that small of a space, even for 2 people, is just not good.
Yeah, I've always, well, and yeah, that's I think a very reasonable reason to move. I'm sorry that it had to be, kind of a more somber reason, but the good thing to get into your new place. But I've always wondered about those, like in a small apartment, right? Mm-hmm. Like I always think of downstate in New York here. Like, what was this pandemic like living in a 2-bedroom in Manhattan or something? Like, it felt claustrophobic with a lot more space, like we're not too far from each other. We've got similar housing stock, right? Mm-hmm. You get a little bit of breathing room, and I just can't imagine what it would have been like being in like a truly confined space. But it sounds like you have some insights on that, right? A couple an apartment is a much smaller, kind of situation to pass the quarantine in and so on, right?
Sure. I mean, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm cognizant too, as you say, what we had a 900 square foot of apartment, so mm-hmm. I still had room for an office. It's just the walls were paper thin, and everybody could hear everything, but in Manhattan, in a small, it's a place where you're in something half that size or less.
Right.
I talked to many people that I met on LinkedIn throughout that period who just got the heck out of New York City, and they went back, people went to Connecticut or, to other parts of New York or wherever they had family, just, to escape that constricting, sense of claustrophobia.
Yeah, that's a huge part of the reason the market is so out of whack up here is you do get some commuters from Buffalo down to Manhattan and so on. Obviously not an everyday commute, but you can
Okay.
hop on a flight 45 minutes, you're at JFK, and you're in the city within kind of 2 hours, right? So
Okay.
it's not a huge part of the population, but they were saying a lot of out of town buyers, especially from downstate, were part of the reason that it was hard to get your hands on a house around here. And so, um, yeah, there's been a lot of upward pressure on housing prices
Mhm.
because of that. I would suspect that that's not unique to this area. Probably anywhere with access to the eastern seaboard metroplex, right? With quick flights and stuff like that, probably saw a huge uptick. So
Right, right. Well, I mean, with Buffalo though, you've got the added selling point of the winters. Oh,
yes, the winters are
gorgeous, the
wonderful.
gorgeous winters. All the snow you can shovel. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And
If you
you know
like
what? It's
snow,
beautiful
yeah.
in the summer. That's a beautiful area. I love driving through. Yeah, upstate New York. But yeah, I can't imagine. I had a friend who lived in Rochester, which I don't think is that far from
Yep.
Buffalo. Okay.
No, yeah, about an hour, just an hour up the road, right?
Yeah,
So
he was just
yeah.
like, okay, you know what? The snow's up to the top of the door today,
Yeah.
so we're definitely not leaving the house.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a we get known for that, but it snows. There's no doubt about it. But a few maybe big storms a year, people know how to handle it. I mean, I grew up around here, moved away, and actually moved back. Um, so that gives some indication of, I don't know how much it affects at least some of the folks around here. Plus,
Well, yeah.
as a kid, it was a lot of fun, right? A lot of snow, a lot of fun, right? Sledding and so on. So that is
That's
something for the kiddos. But
that's a good point. Here in Ohio, or at least the southern half of Ohio, it basically just snows enough to be annoying and make people drive stupid.
Right. That's when I moved out of town, I was living in Baltimore, and that was one thing that I always found like a little frustrating about the winters. Much shorter, so you didn't have a lot of days where things went crazy, but a couple inches of snow and the roads are going nuts, and there was never enough to like really do any of those winter activities.
Mhm.
So you end up in that limbo area, right? So
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. So,
But I don't know. Summer came in February or something, or at least a Buffalo summer down there. So it has its
this year,
trade-offs,
yeah, I think
right?
it's. I think we've got maybe 78 as a high today here, and I'm
Oh, nice.
definitely looking forward to that. And I think we're going down to 40 tomorrow or something like that because we got to throw a little whiplash in before
Yeah.
before you
Don't,
officially get into spring.
don't put away the coats yet, right?
No,
Yeah.
no. I never do. I never do. So okay, so you bought the house. You're mid renovations because you're dashing downstairs to do this. So
Yep.
tell me about that. Is this the biggest reno you've ever taken on?
Well, I will say it was supposed to just be some flooring and some paint when we bought this house, but it's turned into a bit of a bigger renovation. We do have a contractor who's been helping us out along the way here, kind of later in the restrictions and so on around here. We're able to pick somebody up who's helped out because you know time is short. My wife and I both work from home. We've got the little ones that I look after typically during the day, for the most part, and then I've had to kind of mold my business to be a little more asynchronous so I can do a lot of my work off hours and so on. Oh no. See, I blew it. I was talking about kids and I just brought up the business.
We'll give you a
Uh,
mulligan on that one. We'll
oh
give you.
man.
Yeah,
How
it's all
long
right.
was it?
What's that? You know what? It's I don't know if I would have noticed it if you didn't bring it up. So
Well,
I was along for the ride. We'll just let it.
honesty is the
Yeah.
best policy.
Okay.
Put an X on the screen there.
Okay.
We'll do it Family Feud style or
Right,
something.
right. Fair enough.
All right. So yes, but it is the biggest renovation. It's turned into doing bathrooms, setting up setting up moving bedrooms. We're going to end up with a little bit of an addition, moving doors. So it's it's ended up being a little more of a lift, but it's good. Like, I think we're fully committed to staying here for quite a while because of all the work we're doing. And the reality is the market was crazy enough that we were able to do very well on the last house that we moved out of. So, we're able to make it happen. So if you can make it happen, I guess, what's more important, especially my wife and I are both working from home now. So what's more important than making home work for you, right? So yeah, that's my answer to that without, I think, slipping
there
up
you
again.
go. Yeah, the line is fluid, and it doesn't.
Sure.
It's my damn show anyway, and
you make the rules.
The rules, you just run them through a wood chip or whatever, whatever I want. But yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, you don't want your home to be someplace that you hate to work.
Right.
If it's a toxic work environment,
whether that's somebody else's or your own, right?
Right. So, okay, well, that's cool. But I want to hear about the repair or renovation that you would never do again.
Never do again. Oh, yeah. Yes. So I actually, and I've this came up since we moved into this house. I've declared that I am willing to do just about any renovation kind of maintenance task once to find out what I'm paying for, right? Like, I like to know just how bad it is, I guess, essentially. And the one thing that I did once, and it was a disaster, and I will never do it again, was to go and rent a rooter for the main drain in a previous house that I was in, and try to clear out the main drain. And it was a horrible and very dirty experience that I have no interest in doing again. So, call your local plumber to clear out the drains, worth every penny, right? So
okay, good. Wow.
And that same kind of thing came up again here in this house. There's a bathroom in the basement. So there's a grinder pump that moves everything out from the basement bathroom. And I started, it was having some issues. So I started taking off the cover to the big crock, and I remembered, I thought better of it. I was like, wait, I think I've been down this path before, and called the plumber. And once again, worth every penny. that is not one I enjoy.
Oh my gosh! Okay, I will just take your word for it, and I suppose you've got me beat. Like, mine was ceramic tiling. Like, I actually bought a wet saw and tried to tile a bathtub myself.
Yeah.
Worst. Oh my God, I can't even imagine when they bought that house. They were probably just wondering what I was smoking at the time. I don't remember, but it must have been good because I was at the time I was proud of myself. But looking back, it was probably a substandard job. Anyway,
I will say I've had a lot of jobs like that, so there's no shame in that, right? Where I've done things and then I go and I read how to do it properly or do it again and look a little deeper into it, and I'm like, wow, I'm sorry to the person who ended up in my former house or
right.
something.
Okay,
right?
Well, good. I'm glad it's not just me. That's good to do. You got 2 minutes left in this segment, so you can do, if there's any wisdom you want to impart on the world, or if you want to, sing opera, or whatever.
Oh, you don't want to hear me sing, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'll give another shout out to the plumbers of the world. Don't take that on. Anything that involves the main drain from your house, don't take it on yourself. And buying in the pandemic, I don't know, what was it? Because in Ohio, I know you're probably had a little bit of different setups than I did. So I'll turn this 2 minutes around.
Cool.
We had it got locked down for a while. You couldn't go see houses, and then they switched the way you could view houses in New York State to no open houses for a while, one at a time. Had to go in with an agent, had to do all this PPE stuff where a lot of people had you put booties on, wear gloves, you had to wear a mask. Is that about what your experience was there? Is that how they rolled in Ohio?
Yeah, at that time, I mean,
Yep.
obviously things are a little bit more relaxed now.
Right.
And our governor, in terms of, just eliminating requirements altogether, I love his take on it. He's just like, well, I'm just going to put my feet on my desk and wait a few weeks and see what happens in Texas.
Yes.
And these other states that are like, well, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Well,
and I got to respect that.
Yeah. Governor of Ohio got a lot of great press early on for how well he handled it. Right. And so that's another good tactic. I would agree with that. Right. Like, well, we've got some experiments going. Let's see what happens. Right.
Yeah. Not that we don't have our share of naysayers, I mean,
sure.
Especially, in the rural areas where.
Oh, yeah.
Where I am, I overheard somebody a couple weeks ago said, well, I survived in Vietnam. I suppose I can survive the coronavirus. And I was like,
well,
keep on walking and keep,
maybe not the same fight, but good luck, sir.
But it was, it's an interesting story I'll carry with me. So, I'm glad he said it. But
yeah.
Well, we have successfully completed the Lee After Dark 20-minute not talking about your business challenge. So invisible confetti rains down from the sky. And woo,
all right.
I don't have a mariachi band, but if I did, it would be playing right now.
Well, are you rocking OBS over there, Lee, or is that just a virtual background through Zoom?
Oh, I'm just running a virtual background through Zoom right now, just because this is recorded. I use Zoom to run to OBS when I'm doing live streams, but that's just way complicated, and
sure,
my brain doesn't do that on a Friday afternoon. So yeah,
fair enough. I was gonna say I was expecting the button, right?
I'll have to work on that. I need to get back into live streaming, so maybe we'll have to talk about that off the show. But being a man of my word, I want to make sure that you have up to 5 minutes to talk about what you do, who you'd like to hear from, how people can contact you, etc., etc. The floor is yours, my friend.
All right. Well, maybe I'll take part of this 5 minutes to when is this airing, Lee?
We're gonna shoot like 2 weeks from production, so whatever the heck 2 weeks from Friday is.
Okay. All right. We might just miss it then. Okay. Lee has just done a talk for my group, which is the main the main product that we're using right now or promoting right now. So my business is vidwheel.com, or sorry, I don't know if you're editing this, but if you are, you can cut that out. If not, my business is Vidwheel. We can be found primarily at vidwheel.com. And what we do has kind of changed a bit through the experience of the pandemic and coronavirus and the changes it's made. So we used to be a traditional video production company. We had a studio, had a few people on staff who would go out, travel places very often, shoot things, come back, make a video, and companies would pay us because we could make better video than they could in-house. But during coronavirus, as I alluded to in my illegal mention of my business during the earlier segment there, I had to change the way I did things because I started doing a lot more childcare. Things were just crazy in general during especially the first 6 months. So I actually started by well, overall, we now are more focused on helping companies create the best video that they can in-house. And I started that by early on in COVID. I decided, like, what can I do? You know, a lot of companies were doing this where it was like, all right, like we all need to try and help each other out a little. I looked at my skill set and kind of thought, like, what can I do to help businesses in this moment, and started running these free coaching sessions to help people look as good as they could on their webcams, right? Because a lot of people were still shooting webcams up their nose, totally backlit in their shot, you know, terrible audio, that kind of stuff. So it started as that. And from that, I went and developed a kit, which is actually the kit I'm on now, which delivers high quality streaming. It also, you know, can be used to record videos, typically talking heads and that type of thing, podcasts, things like that. And I developed that kit, and then I kind of spun that kit into the Vidwheel Creator Network, which is, you know, as I mentioned, Lee is going to speak probably just before we release this to that group. And that group is kind of a 3-part product where we include this kit. As I mentioned, we include the group itself, which is a closed social media network with education and consulting and kind of, you know, peer support and a chance to throw things out there and see what people think. And then the third leg, which I guess I kind of just mentioned, is that we offer unlimited consulting with that. So myself and my crew, and a couple of the experts who are involved in the group are happy to chat with people and, you know, help them figure out what they need to do to make their video, whether it be streaming or, you know, marketing or sales, as good as possible. Did I go over? Do you stop me if I go over?
You're not even close. It's okay. No, and no, I wouldn't stop you if you go over. I've had these things run like 45 minutes, but no.
All right,
and it's so important. I mean, what do you think's the biggest mistake people make when they're creating marketing videos?
Well, for creating videos, I think it's trying to put too much into a video. Okay. I often advocate, especially if people are starting off, you know, doing their own thing, or even when we would do, you know, production in studio, single subject or like kind of well-defined videos are going to land a lot better with your target market. People will be like, well, we got to put this in, this and this and this in, and you end up with like this weird kind of vaguely messaged, who is this for type of video. Mm-hmm. Best bet, pick a subject, talk about it. If it's a 30-second video, it's a 30-second video. And if that subject is deep enough that it's a 15-minute video, then like fine. And you might pull a couple of 31-minute videos out of there to try and funnel people into that longer form video. But one subject, that's my biggest piece of advice.
Excellent. And not being an expert, I'd like to throw in captions. Dang it. I know you can't do that on live. Well, you can do that on live stream. It's sort of, but yeah, I'm still working on that part. But captions in videos, people listen with the sound off, except on YouTube.
Yeah.
If they're on LinkedIn.
Yes. Oh yeah. Captions are huge on LinkedIn, especially. I find myself watching videos all the time without captions, right? Or without sound, and you need the captions, especially, you know, on mobile when you're scrolling through the news feed. If there's not captions, I don't know, you have to be motivated to click through and actually listen to that video, which maybe sometimes you are, but there may be situations where you can't,
Yeah.
and then you're not grabbing attention. So the other thing is, of course, captions, when it does come to YouTube, are great for, the SEO side of things. And while LinkedIn likes to keep their algorithm really secret, it would not surprise me if they bonused videos that actually had captions, or if your burn-in captions are there, that can work too, just from a getting people to stop and watch, capturing people's attention.
Okay, so like I'm gonna nerd here for a second, so y'all just hang out for a second. Sorry, so like when we're doing this, when YouTube, you're talking about the SEO advantage being from uploading an SRT file, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if you burn them on, you're not going to get the same SEO benefit.
That's correct. So my advice, like my videos, both on LinkedIn and on YouTube, I use the SRT file. On LinkedIn, what I do is put an SRT file in and then leave a block of space at the bottom, because the SRT file will automatically populate in that space when people are scrolling through. Now, the downside is if they play the video, the captions go away unless they turn them on, right? Like once they get audio, the captions will go. But it is it effectively does the same thing as the burned in captions, but potentially gets you a bonus. So on YouTube, that bonus is supposedly a real thing. They're a little more transparent about how they how they rank things and so on. But on LinkedIn, that's more just a theory, right? So
okay. That's excellent to know. I mean, these are these little tidbits that can help define success and failure. So, all right, well, very good. Thank you for clarifying that, and thank you all out there in Leland for putting up with another one of my, rabbit hole moments. These things happen, So awesome. Well, people can get in contact with you. Obviously, we'll have your LinkedIn profile address there in the show notes. And what other websites and resources would you like to point people to?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to come find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to, connect with anybody there and, further conversation. Anybody who wants to reach out to me directly, I give my email freely. It's Neil, Neil, at vidwheel.com. And then again, the website is vidwheel.com. So, come check us out. Our aim is to help folks who either maybe dip their toe in the water due to COVID, when it comes to video, to make better video, or if you have had some success but you're looking to upgrade what you're able to do, we can help you out there too. So we're trying to help people make better video in whatever way they're utilizing it for their business.
Awesome. And as a guy who pretty much has to live on social media, I appreciate what you do, because there are some really bad videos out there.
Yeah, we're trying to help that, but it's crazy how much it's grown over the past year, right? Like everybody's got one of our members has talked about it as every person is essentially their own media company now, right? And I think that's maybe a trope that Gary Vee or somebody kind of talks about too, but that's becoming truer every day. So
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know we went a little bit over here, and I want to be respectful of your time, and we're out of time anyway. So if you all found this episode of Lee After Dark more entertaining and relevant than most of the dreck out there, then subscribe to my YouTube channel at leeafterdark.com. I would point you to Anchor FM and all of that, but I think we're pretty far behind on that. So don't go over there right now. I don't want you to see my mess. Just go to youtube.com, subscribe there. You get all of the Lee After Dark you want. All right. That's it for now. Until next episode, this is Lee Rowley with my friend Neil Carroll saying, be present and be well.